Okay, so for the Civic Sport, you gain the remote start. So the way that you use that, you have to have your key fob, make sure the car is locked. So what I like to do is tap the lock button 2 or 3 times, and then you hold the remote start button, which is the bottom left one. So if I double tap and then hold the remote start, see the lights flash on the engine, the car turns on, and then the lights flash 5 or 6 more times just to indicate that the engine turned on. And at this point, the car is in a standby mode. So what you're gonna have to do is, when you get into the car, you're gonna have to put your foot on the brake and tap the push to start button like you normally would. And the car engine only runs for 10 minutes. So if you have your car in a garage, you don't have to worry about the garage getting all fumey. And if you remote start the car from your house and realize that you don't have to leave the house yet, then if you just hold the remote start button again, you see the lights flash, the engine turns off. And the way that the smart entry system works is, if the car is locked, all you have to do is walk up to the car with the key fob with you and just put your hand on the inside of the driver's right handle and the car automatically unlocks. Okay, on the Civic Sport, you gain the sport pedals, just a different kind of sporty pedal, more responsive. And then up here you have your paddle shifters, so plus and minus. And as long as you're in drive, and if you were to hit the plus on the paddle shifter, at this point near the parking symbol, it'll give you a gear, and then from there it's going to emulate like you're driving a manual transmission. Also in the Civic Sport, you gain the leather wrap steering wheel and shift knob. Okay, so on the Civic Sport, you gain a new touchscreen. So the way that you use this is, let's say you're in the audio portion of the touchscreen and you want to go home, you can just use the dedicated home button on the left-hand side. You can use the audio button here to access the radio, and then from this point, if you wanted to change channels, you can just tap them. And let's say you wanted to make a channel preset. So let's say you wanted to make 94.5. your number 1 preset. What you're gonna have to do is press and hold on channel 1 for a little bit. You hear the beep, you see the 1 pop up, almost the same way as the Civic LX. And at this point, if you wanted to change your radio source, you click on source, you have your FM and AM, and once you get your phone paired, you'll be able to click on Bluetooth, and then from there listen to anything that you're playing over Bluetooth. And then if I hit the home button, here you have the phone button here or here. It's a little shortcut to bring you to your phone. So once you get a phone paired, you'll be able to view your contacts, your speed dial list, anything like that. Okay, so to access your vehicle settings, it's a little different. So if I click on the settings gear here, click on vehicle, and then from here, if I click on door and window setup, you'll have the same settings as before. Only this time, you have the key and remote unlock mode settings because you have the key fob. You have the walk-away auto lock with the smart entry that you can enable or disable. Here, if you have your keyless access setup, so that's the same thing as the smart entry. So now you can change the door lock settings for the smart entry. And then the driver assist system setup is all your Honda sensing settings that were just like the other car, with the adaptive forward vehicle detect beep and the lane keeping assist. Okay, so with the new touchscreen means you have a new way to pair your phone. So if I click phone, and then click yes, I'd like to add a new phone. At this point, you're gonna have to pull up the settings on your phone, go to the Bluetooth section, and then wait for something called hands-free link to pop up. And then once that hands-free link pop up, you can tap on it. Then it's gonna give you a 6-digit pairing code. At that point, you can click pair. And then at that point, it's gonna ask you if you wanna sync your contacts. And I'm gonna show what screen is next after this. Okay, so your phone's been successfully connected. So it's going to ask you a couple questions on your phone. It's going to ask if you want to sync your contacts. So I would usually hit allow. And then it's going to ask if you want to use Apple CarPlay while your phone is locked. So I would also hit allow for that, or else every time you lock your phone, Apple CarPlay is going to disable. But at this point, once your phone is paired, you should see this screen. And this is just giving your phone priority device settings. So what that means is even if another person gets in and their phone is connected, essentially if you give your phone priority device settings, then it will override any other phone that's connected to the system. So I'm just going to click yes. So it's just giving your phone audio permissions, so to be able to play something over the Bluetooth, and incoming phone call permissions. The Honda Link Assist setting. This setting is so if you're ever in the event of an accident, and let's say your phone goes flying so you can't get to it to call 911, and the airbags have to be deployed for this setting to turn on. So it has to be somewhat of a severe accident for this setting to be turned on. At that point, it's going to use the Bluetooth connection on your phone to connect you to either a call center or the closest police station. So at that point, you're going to be talking to first responders over the speakers of your car. So most customers enable this. It's a completely free service that Honda offers. There's no small text at the bottom saying it's a subscription service or anything like that. So most customers just turn it on. So at this point, your phone's been paired. So if I were to go to home and then audio, At this point, if I wanted to play something over the radio via Bluetooth, I can click source and then click on the Bluetooth icon, and then from there you can play something over your phone. Okay, so for Apple CarPlay, you have to be plugged into this USB extension. The USB extension is plugged in down there, but you do have to be plugged in to use Apple CarPlay. So once you want to set up Apple CarPlay, what you have to do is have your phone unlocked, plug it into this USB extension, and then from there it's going to prompt you with the terms of service on the screen here, so you'll hit accept. And then at this point, smartphone connection will turn into Apple CarPlay, and then sometimes it boots you right into Apple CarPlay, but and also the other times you have to like click on Apple CarPlay here and it'll put you in. Okay, so to set up Apple CarPlay, what you have to do is plug your iPhone charger into your iPhone while it's unlocked, and then at this point it's going to prompt you with this screen here, and this is just your iOS terms of service. This is that long list of agreements that you have to agree to when you initially buy your iPhone. So if you just hit always enable, it'll never prompt you with this screen again. This is the same Honda Link Assist setting that we went over earlier. And then smartphone connection will turn into Apple CarPlay, and then it boots you right into Apple CarPlay. So right here it has your navigation app, it has some of the locations that you can visit, and then this is the now playing tab. So if you have a podcast or music or an audiobook playing, then it'll show you the album cover, the title of the song, and the artist here. And then at this point, this is the main screen for Apple CarPlay. So you can either hit the home button here, or at this point you can just swipe in between screens. And here you have all your apps on your phone. So if I were to click phone and then contacts, it'll have all your contacts just how they are on your phone. So you'll be able to click on a contact and then it'll bring up their phone number, and then you'll be able to hit call. And now if you wanted to use the Maps app or whatever navigation app that you like to use, you can hit Maps, hit search, hit the keyboard, and at this point you could type a location in, so your home address, anything like that. And then if you just hit go, it'll give you the directions like you normally would. And then any other app on here basically works the same. So if you download Waze or Google Maps, whatever you prefer, it'll be the next one that pops up on your screen here, and then you can use it almost the same way. The interfaces for navigation apps on Apple CarPlay are very similar. Okay, so with the Civic Sport, to be able to call someone hands-free, it's a little bit different. So with the new touchscreen display, you have a new way to call someone hands-free. So if I just click on the voice talk button, at this point, I'm just going to turn the volume down. So at this point, it's giving you all the commands that you can say to the car. So if you wanted to call someone hands-free, you could say phone call. So right now it's listening. So if I say phone call, it's going to put me into the next screen. And then if you synced your contacts when you set up your phone, at that point, you're going to be able to say someone from your contact list. So if I wanted to call my friend Alex that I was trying to set up earlier, I would just click the voice talk button. I can interrupt it at any time by clicking the voice talk button again. Phone call. It recognized it. And then from this point, you can state the contact name that you want to call. So if I want to interrupt her, and then say, at this point I could say call someone from my contact list that you would want to call. Okay, so for the Civic Sport, to access your AC settings, what you're going to have to do is hit the climate button, and then from here, instead of having a mode button down here, you can then you have to be able to touch screen the modes here. So this is the only way that you can access your modes, and then from here you can touch screen the fan speed if you want, or you can use the fan speed button here, and then everything else is the same down there.